Today we're talking about Ganesha, and I'm wearing my Ganesh shirt and my Ganesh pendant. We all know the story of Ganesh, how goddess Parvati created a son to guard while she bathed. Parvati fashioned him directly from clay or dirt from her body while preparing for a bath. In another version, Ganesh was formed directly from Parvati's skin or her divine essence. When her consort, Lord Shiva, came home, being unknown, Ganesh didn't let him in. Shiva, not recognizing Ganesh either, was furious and in a fit of anger beheaded him. Parvati was devastated, and Shiva promised to bring him back to life. Shiva sent his gunners in search of a head, telling them to bring back the first living being they found, but only if it was facing north. This direction is considered auspicious and connected to wisdom and new beginnings. There are other versions too, but this one's the most popular. But in this video, we want to explore different aspects of Lord Ganesh more deeply. Ganesh is such an important deva in Hinduism. Wherever there are Hindu practitioners around the world, Ganesh is worshipped. In fact, if someone is, say, starting a business venture and it happens to go wrong, someone might say, well, you did do puja to Lord Vighneshwara, right? Like they might even say that you didn't do the worship properly because you didn't get the blessings of Ganesha. And Vighneshwara is Ishwara, God, and Vighna is obstacle. So it's the Lord of obstacles, or the one who removes the obstacle. So why is Ganesh called Vighneshwara? Well, according to the pastime, there was a king named Abhinandana, and he desired to become Indra or ascend to the role of Indra. And Indra does not take lightly when people kind of want to usurp his position. And so as Abhinandana was creating this yajna, this great sacrifice, Indra unleashed a demon called Vighna Asura, Vighnasura, Asura meaning demon, and Vighna means obstacle. So the demon in charge of creating an obstacle for Abhinandana, so he wouldn't finish his yajna. And this demon was completely successful and thwarted Abhinandana's attempt at doing the yajna. But unfortunately, Indra could not kind of pull him back, and he unleashed a whole lot of chaos on all the sadhus and anyone who was trying to follow a religious path. And so all the devas approached Ganapati and asked him, please help us, please stop this demon Vighnasura. So Ganesh, he manifested and went into battle with Vighnasura. Very soon Vighnasura could tell he was no match for Ganapati, and he supplicated to Ganapati and said, please, accept me as your humble servant. And so Vighnasura became one of the gunners, one of the followers, and he asked Ganapati to please take the name Vighneshwara, or the Lord of Obstacles, his Lord. And that's how he got the name Vighneshwara, or the Lord of Obstacles, the Lord of removing obstacles. And in fact, the location where this battle took place is in Ozar in Maharashtra in India, so close to Mumbai. And there is a great temple there known as Sri Vignaha Ganapati Mandir. Lord Vighneshwara holds immense importance. He's worshipped before embarking on any new endeavor for siddhi, success, and buddhi, intelligence. Lord Vighneshwara's presence is considered auspicious at the beginning of any venture, be it the inauguration of a new business, the commencement of a wedding ceremony, or the initiation of a religious ritual. Vighneshwara is considered the ultimate guide and mentor, assisting individuals in their quest for knowledge and enlightenment. So people often think that Ganesh worship is limited to India, but we find Ganesh worship in many places around the world, and even in archaeological evidence. There is a great statue in Afghanistan, and this statue is called the Gardez Ganesha. And it was discovered in Gardez near Kabul in Afghanistan, and it was dedicated by a king named King Gal. The Murti is dated to 7th century CE based on paleography at the inscription on the base. And paleography is the study of writings and dating them. In Indonesia, although it is 70 to 80% Muslim nowadays, even the name itself hints at its past. Indo is like the Indus Valley, or the word Hindu comes from. And Nija is like a country, so it's the country of the Indus people. And even today, the 20,000 rupee note has a picture of Ganesh on it, and he sits alongside sort of an educational pioneer called Kihaja Dewantara, Ganesha is the symbol of the Badang Technological Institute. It's really fitting to have Ganesha in a position where he's next to education and sciences and calculation, because he's Lord of Ganana, which is calculation as well. And of course, in Indonesia, we also have Garuda Airlines, which Garuda is the carrier of Vishnu. And there are so many other connections with Hindu culture in Indonesia. In Thailand, Ganesh is also worshipped for removing obstacles. And in fact, the Thai monarchy is the Chakri dynasty, and the emblem of the Chakri dynasty is Vishnu's Sudarshan chakra, along with the Trishula, the trident of Shiva. And these kings in the Chakri dynasty, they're related back with Lord Ram, Raja Ramachandra. In Tibet, Ganesh is worshipped in a number of Buddhist deity forms, including Maharakta Ganapati and Vajra Vinayaka. If we move across from Tibet to China, we see Ganesh worshipped as Zhangtou Shen. If we move across from China to Japan, we see Ganesh incorporated into the pantheon of Japanese Buddhist, Shinto, and Shugendo deities. He's known as Vinayaka-ten, sort of like Vinayaka, Shoten, Ganapati, or can see how that's related to Ganapati, Ganapati, and Kangaten in Japan. And this is the Buddhist form of the Hindu god of wisdom, Ganesha, in Japan. Ganesha is also worshipped across Indochina, and so this is Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and also across maritime Southeast Asia, which of course includes Indonesia, but also includes Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, Brunei, and East Timor. The earliest text, the Rig Veda, declares at the very outset something that is fundamental to the understanding within Hinduism, and this is the idea of Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vedanti. There is one truth, one reality, which the learned ones call by different names. This is the basis for the innumerable personalities and pastimes and manifestations of divinity. Scholars believe the bulk of the Rig Veda Samhita was composed in the northwestern region of the Indian subcontinent, most likely between 1500 and 1000 BCE, although a wider approximation of 1900 to 1200 BCE has also been given. There is supposed to be 33 crore of Hindu devas. A crore is 10 million, so 33 is 33 million devas. So in order to understand this, and yet God is one, we have to go back to the Rig Veda. There is one truth, one reality, which the learned ones call by different names. Even the smallest inanimate objects, trees and snakes, are worshipped as a manifestation of that one supreme. But on a higher level, there are different types of avatars with special purposes. Ganesh has many names. He's known as Ganapati, or the Lord of the Ganas. And the Ganas are the followers of Shiva. So Shiva can be found in the grounds of the crematorium. He's covered with ash. And his followers are the ghosts and the ghouls, because he's the god of destruction. And Ganesh, being his son, is sort of the head of the Ganas. But there are other meanings for Ganapati as well. So Ganana is also calculation. So he's also Lord of calculation. So he's the Lord of mathematics and sciences. From the perspective of yoga and tantra, many symbols and many devas represent various faces and manifestations of that one single divine energy. Ganesh is the symbol or the devata of the Muladhara chakra. This is important in yoga and tantra yoga. Slightly less so in Bhakti traditions. I like to think of Bhakti yoga as a sort of transcendental nepotism, and the yogic practices as more meritocracies, where you have to follow strict rules and be qualified. Whereas with Bhakti yoga, it's almost like a matter of the heart. You know, you give your heart to God, and no matter how unqualified you are, you get the blessings. In yoga and tantra, apart from the physical organism, there is a physio-psychological system of nadis within the human being. The chakras and nadis are part of the same system, the nadis being the most infinite network or tubular organs or channels of energy flow felt throughout the body, and the chakras being the epicenters and origins of this energy flow. Nadi is a term for the channels through which, in traditional Indian medicine and spiritual theory, the energies such as prana of the physical body. The subtle body and the causal body are said to flow. Within this philosophical framework, the nadis are said to connect at special points of intensity called chakras. All nadis are said to originate from one of two centers, the heart and the kunda, the latter being an egg-shaped bulb in the pelvic area, just below the navel. The three principal nadis run from the base of the spine to the head and are the Ida on the left, the Sushumna in the center, and the Pingala on the right. Ultimately, the goal is to unblock these nadis, to bring moksha or liberation. The first chakra is the Muladhara chakra, the second is the Svadhisthana chakra, the third the Nabhi chakra, the fourth the Anahata chakra, the fifth the Vishuddha chakra, the sixth the Ajna chakra, seven the Sahasrara chakra. At the base we have the kundalini, and on the left channel we have the Ida. The central channel is the Sushumna, and the right channel is the Pingala. The Jiva, the spirit, is in the heart area, along with Paramatma or super soul. Near the Sahasrara chakra, we have the false ego, the sense of misidentifying with this body. Muladhara means Mula Adharam, the root, foundation, and this is the basis upon which the rest of the body is built. From the Muladhara to the Sahasrara chakra, each represents a level of greater subtlety or refinement of consciousness. The grossest level, or that which connects to this earth, is the Muladhara chakra, and that is the chakra associated with Ganesha. So Ganesha is very much connected to Prakriti, or this earthly nature. Ganesha is the symbol of the root of human consciousness. Sex desire, hunger, thirst, these all very base human desires are considered to be connected with the Muladhara chakra. And when this chakra is activated and sublimated, the energy or the prana is said to move upward along the Sushumna until it reaches the Sahasrara chakra, where the yogi experiences samadhi or liberation. Ganesh is said to be invoked first because this whole yogic practice begins with the Muladhara chakra, so begins with Ganesha's blessings. From the point of view of yoga and tantra, Ganesh is always worshipped in the Muladhara chakra, internally and externally as the Muladhara yantra, 4 petals bearing the Sanskrit letters Va, Sha, Sha, and Sa. The center syllable is Lam. The tattva of earth is represented by a yellow square. The Puranas say that Ganesha was formed from the dirt or the earth of Parvati's body. So again, there's that connection with Prakriti or earth. He therefore belongs to Prthvi, the solid thing we call earth. Bhudevi, also known as Bhumi Devi or Prthvi Devi, is a goddess who is symbol of wealth and prosperity. She's also known as the consort of Lord Vishnu. So anything we need to do auspiciously on this earth, we need to invoke the blessings of Lord Ganesha. Parvati is a symbol of Shakti. Shakti is also a symbol of kundalini, which lies coiled 3.5 times in the Muladhara chakra. This makes Ganesh and Shakti, or Parvati, intrinsically linked, as Ganesh was created from the earth that came from Parvati's body. This holds profound symbolism of consciousness going from the gross to the most subtle. Elephants are an ancient symbol of power and prowess, of obedience and of wisdom. They're very luxurious. In ancient times, it was almost like having a luxury car to own an elephant. And yet, despite their size, they're also known as gentle creatures, non-violent. They're the largest of the animals, and yet they're vegetarian. So there is this ahimsa dichotomy between their size and their nature. Ganesh is often seen as a representation of the sacred syllable Om. Many people who look at Ganesh's picture, especially from the side, notice a resemblance to the shape of Om in the trunk and face. In Sanskrit, Om is written in a way that resembles Ganesh's trunk and head. In Tamil, when you write Om and turn it around, it almost looks identical to Ganesh's face. I wonder if it was done deliberately to symbolize that Ganesh represents Om, which is a symbol of Parabrahman. Even when we look at it in Balinese, it almost looks like Ganesh. When we look at Ganesh, in his right hand, we have the goad or the ankusha. This is used by mahouts to direct elephants. So a mahout is kind of like an elephant herder, if they're just sort of leading them. And a goad is, when we say to goad someone, this is where we're sort of gently pushing them in that direction. Ganesh holds a ankusha, which is how he gently pushes us. and steers us in the right direction and steers us away from a treacherous path. In his other hand, he holds a noose or a pasham. This is used by Ganesh to capture difficulties, helping to ease the path to success. When Ganesh's trunk is turned to the left, it symbolizes success in the world, a position associated with grihastas or householders. Turned to the right, it represents moksha or enlightenment, a good direction for those following a spiritual path. He's also seen with a broken tusk, and this is also very symbolic. It's said that he broke his tusk to be the scribe for Veda Vyas, who himself is an incarnation of the Lord. Veda Vyas is a literary incarnation of Vishnu, and he compiled all the Vedas and the Mahabharata, and Ganesh is said to have been his scribe. And Ganesh broke off his tusk to write the Mahabharata, which is also symbolic of the pen being mightier than the sword, and also being symbolic of the great sacrifice one makes on the path of righteousness. Ganesh also has a cobra belt, and this is to remind us that he is the son of Lord Shiva, and also shows how his belly encompasses the whole universe. Ganesh is often seen holding a ball of rice or a sweet called a modak or a ladu. This symbolizes the sweet reward that comes to those who reach the highest understanding. The modakam is in the hand which the rat is eyeing all the time. Modakam is a sweet. It also means satisfaction, full satisfaction, and it's the fruit of wisdom, of the understanding of Brahman. If you look closely, you'll see that every Ganesh has a third eye. That is a symbol of the Ajna chakra, which is referred to in the 7 centers from the Muladhara to the Sahasrara. The 6th center between the eyebrows is called the Ajna chakra, the eye of wisdom, which when open, one sees beyond with what one can see with one's physical eyes and penetrates into the dimensions of higher wisdom and spiritual oneness. The devas signifying this third eye is the combination of Parvati and Shiva. There's another beautiful story in the Puranas showing Ganesh as the wise spiritual aspirant. Once, when Shiva and Parvati were trying to figure out who to give some fruit to, they asked who can go around the world the fastest, Subramanya, who is also their son Kartikeya, or Ganesh. So Kartikeya is Ganesh's brother. He's known as Skanda, Subramanya, Shanmukha, and Murugan. He's the Hindu god of war. He's always described as the son of Shiva and Parvati and as the brother of Ganesh. Kartikeya got onto his peacock and flew off saying, "Let me finish and come before my less athletic little brother can do anything." Ganesh thought about the test, and instead he circumambulated Shiva and Parvati 3 times. And at the end he said, "I finished my journey, give me the fruit." Ganesh explained, "You are my whole universe. If I go around you, that is more than enough." Ganesh is therefore a symbol of that real, sincere aspirant who knows that there is no point in going all over the world searching for happiness. Ganesh is sitting on a lotus base, and the lotus always symbolizes, because it's born in rivers and in lakes where they're muddy and tumultuous, and yet the lotus can rise up and the flower opens every day, pure and untouched. So this is symbolic. When we see a deva sitting on a lotus, this is the idea of rising out of the worldly but being spotless. The rat, or the mushika, rats are capable of gnawing their way through almost anything, and the rat symbolizes Ganesha's ability to destroy every obstacle. Ganesh, who is big and well fed, rides a small mouse or a rat, a lowly creature that usually comes out at night, eats what is under the earth and quietly waits for food. The contrast between an elephant and a mouse is striking. This symbol suggests that the highest can be carried by the lowest. A humble creature like a mouse or a rat serves as the vehicle for the mighty Ganesha. This contrast points to the potential within each of us. Though we may be small and limited, we have the potential to carry the whole universe within us. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah. Salutations to the remover of obstacles. Different schools of devotion identify Ganesha as an unmarried brahmachari with no consorts. Another school associates Ganesh with the concepts of buddhi, intellect, siddhi, spiritual power, and riddhi, prosperity. These qualities are sometimes personified as goddesses who are considered to be Ganesha's consorts. In particular, Ganesh is usually represented as having 2 Shaktis, 2 consorts, One is Siddhi and the other is Buddhi. There is a pastime that once Ganesh wanted a consort that embodied the same wonderful qualities as his mother, Parvati, but there was nobody who encapsulated all her wonderful qualities. So Lord Brahma set about creating two different goddesses, Buddhi for intelligence and Siddhi for spiritual power and enlightenment. They are worshipped alongside Ganesh. Om Shri Siddhi Buddhi Vinayaka Namo Namaha. According to the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the extraordinary capacities and powers that a yogi acquires when the connection between Muladhara and Sahasrara chakra are established are called the siddhis. These are the perfections of garima, becoming very heavy, lagima, weightlessness, mahima, becoming huge, and so on. These are the same perfections that Hanuman has. Therefore, Ganapati is also Ganapati, as he has all these 8 siddhis that a perfected yogi will have. Ganesha Chaturthi is a wonderful 10-day festival celebrating Lord Ganesha. And every day there is puja and storytelling, all in remembrance of Ganesha. On the 10th day, there is Visarjan, which is when the deity is immersed in water, symbolizing Ganesh as earth, returning back to his origins, returning back to Mount Kailash. And there is a prayer to ask Ganesh to please come again next year. This takes place on Chaturthi, or the 4th day of Bhadrapada, which is the 6th month of the Hindu calendar. Unfortunately, one negative aspect of Visarjan is that a lot of these murtis are created with toxic paint and different other non-biodegradable elements. So it does tend to pollute the waterways because there are just so many of these deities. But the idea itself is really beautiful. There's a very famous verse from the Rig Veda. It is from Book 2 or Mandala 2, Chapter 23, Verse 1. Om Gananam Tvam Ganapati Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jestarajam Brahmanam Brahmanas Pataana Shrinvanutibisi Dasadanam Mahaganapataye Namah. This verse is chanted by a lot of Ganesh Bhaktas, and the idea is that Om Gananam Tvam Ganapati Havamahe, the Ganapati that we are worshipping is thought to be Ganesh. However, many scholars believe that this is not actually to Ganesh, but to Brihaspati, who is the guru to the Devas. And the idea is that the appearance of Ganesh in scriptures didn't really appear until much later during the medieval period. So the Rig Veda itself, if it was penned anywhere between 1900 and 1200 BCE, the worship of Ganesha and the telling of Ganesha's pastimes didn't obviously make their appearance in texts until the Madgala Purana and also the Ganesha Purana, which are much more from the medieval period. The beautiful thing again about Bhakti is that if you are worshipping Ganesh with this mantra, then Ganesh is who is in your heart, and that's who you are addressing this prayer to. It really just matters more from an academic point of view, which at the end of the day, Bhakti is not academic. So as long as we have Ganesha in our hearts and we are praying to that divine entity, that Brahman aspect, the one who helps us and who removes obstacles for us, both in terms of material things, but much more importantly in terms of spiritual things, then it's our Bhakti that counts the most. You might think, well, doesn't Durga take care of the material world? Yes, this is true. Durga does, but Durga is known as fortress. She is the fortress that holds us within this material world. So her role is to be Mahamaya, the one who keeps us in the illusion, who keeps us in the matrix, if you like, because this is where we want to be. And when we pray to Durga, we can ask for her to release us from this fortress of the material world. But we can also pray to Ganesha to help remove our spiritual obstacles on the path. As to where we should place our murtis of Ganesha, He likes best to be either facing west or facing east, but he most loves to be in the northeastern corner. But people often put him right near the entrances to their homes as well. Or if you're entering a temple, you might look and immediately to the right, there's a Ganesha there as well. So he is the protector of entrances. But if you have the ideal spot to put him, that's in the northeastern corner. Check out the video, Om Gananam Tvam Ganapati Mahe, where we sing it 108 times, and that should be just about here in the description. Jai Ganapati. Om Gananam Tvam Ganapati Mahe, Kavim Kavi